What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Time for the Carls-Bremen again. Now this is going to be more practical. What's the Carls-Bremen system? Well, this is just a setup where you play the same thing over and over regardless of what your opponent does, just like the London system or the Czech system. So you begin with pawn to c4 as if you are playing the English opening, and after black plays anything, you now go knight c3 or even better pawn to g3 first, so that on the next move you can plant your bishop on g2. The secret is to put your minor pieces behind your pawns like these. For example, after something like bishop c5, I'm just making a move, maybe targeting your weak f2 pawn. You just simply go pawn to e3, shielding these and also paving way for your king's knight. For example, if black castles short, you can simply go knight e2, but looking at the current position, knight c3 is better than knight e2. Why? Because knight c3 controls the d5 square together with your light squared bishop and the pawn, stopping pawn to d5. So this is why knight c3 may come first before knight e2. So this is just a setup to memorize at least up to 10 moves or 8. If something like pawn to d6, again you simply go knight ge2. Don't worry about this. Next you have pawn to h3. That's what we talked about in yesterday's video, and here most of them play knight c6. That's the top played move, after which you can just go pawn to h3. Why pawn to h3? Because you are now stopping bishop g4 or knight g4. I mean, this is a very important structure in our Carls-Bremen system, guys. Some may argue to say this is the King's English variation, but we are just executing all the plans that we follow in the Carls-Bremen system. Next, after something like bishop b6, I don't know, you can just simply castle short and you will put your king on h2 for it to be safe. Why? Because in the middle game, you would love to play pawn to f4, one of your key pawn breaks. And how do you develop your dark squared bishop? In a number of ways. First, you're going to put your d pawn on d3 so that your bishop can sit on d2, or maybe develop it this way. And there's one beautiful trap that I showed you guys in my yesterday's video, where black plays bishop e6 instead of bishop b6 right on move 7. And so whenever you see bishop e6, just know that this is a blunder because of pawn to d4 attacking the bishop. Even if pawn takes happens, you can simply take back attacking the bishop. Once again, after bishop b6, that's when you go pawn to d5, double attacking the knight and bishop. How cool is that? So I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I explained some of these lines in detail in my English opening course, which is why you need to get that. Highly recommended. And you guys, what are you waiting for? I mean, you can now challenge me at www.casperchess.com. Simply head to the challenges tab or this box to challenge Coach Casper. Once you click there, you'll be able to challenge me in one click, and I'll find your challenge, then I'll accept whenever I'm free. So game challenges are on. Better take your chance for educational purposes only. So let me take one of the challenges that I will find on Lichess and try the Carls-Bremen system against that random subscriber or any challenger. Let's go. So time for the Carls-Bremen. Let's see what my opponent is going to play. I'm ready for the war today, guys. So pawn to c4, the English opening, and knight to f6 by black. So the idea is to go pawn to g3 and put my light squared bishop on g2. So g3, bishop g2, and pawn to e3 in the near future, followed by knight e2. So my king's knight is supposed to sit on e2, not on f3. So there we see e5, bishop g2, everything normal. Bishop c5. Now listen, you guys, whenever you see bishop c5, just remember to play pawn to e3. So bishop c5 goes together with pawn to e3, to cover the f2 pawn. So pawn to e3, also paving way for knight e2 next. So basically speaking, knight f3 is not the idea in the Carls-Bremen system. You want all your pieces to be behind your pawns, and knight c3 is also on the plate, as you can see. So I just saw that knight e2 is not a good timing. I think let me go knight c3 first, to control the d5 square together with my light squared bishop. So it's all about timing again, you guys. Yes, you have your backup plan, but you need to respond to what your opponent is doing as well. So you need to respond to your opponent's threats. So pawn to d6. I guess the plan is to go bishop g4 or knight g4 someday, which is why we play knight e2 then followed by pawn to h3, or I can start with pawn to h3 to stop that if I want, but knight e2 makes a lot of sense here. I still have h3 in case of bishop g4. Okay, so knight b d7 by black. I think let me just castle short since there is no bishop g4, so castle short instead of playing pawn to h3. So a6 by black, a6, preparing for pawn to b5 next, I guess. But I don't have to worry about this b5 move because of bishop takes a8. I'm gonna take his rook. So yep, b5 just hangs the rook. So let me go d3. And listen, you guys, if you don't know what to do with your center pawns in the English or in the Carls-Bremen system, just put them along the third rank. They do a great defense there. Anyway, black just played c6 to stop bishop takes a8 once they decide to play pawn to b5. But you know what? That doesn't make sense either, because even after pawn to b5, I can simply take with my pawn, and after ab, I can just take knight takes c5. Sorry, knight takes b5. So a3, I may go pawn to b4 next. If b5, I'll just take, and if c takes b5, I have bishop takes a8. So there we see queen c7. What am I going to do? Queen c7. Oh, God. Okay, rook b1, preparing for b4 next, you know, harassing the bishop. There we see pawn to b5. What did I say, you guys? That's a huge blunder, because I have my light squared bishop sitting on g2, and I'm gonna win black's rook on a8 if he's not careful. So c takes b5 is the way to go, because I know black can't take back with his c pawn. And if AB, I'm gonna take back with my knight. Yep, so knight takes b5, and still black can't take my knight because I have bishop takes a8. So that's what I was talking about all this time. See how I haven't even touched the plan to go pawn to h3, simply because that's not the direction of the game at the moment. So queen b6 by black, knight c3, knight bc3. So the thing is that you may have your backup plan, yes, like all those plans I was talking about in the opening, to go pawn to h3, put my king on h2 and go on, but that's not what the current situation requires me to play. You have to respond to your opponent's threats, not just following your plans. That's memorization. Anyways, knight a4 makes a lot of sense to me, attacking the queen and the bishop. So I'm gonna win the dark squad bishop from here. So what I'm saying is, you only need to continue with your backup plan whenever you have a clear chance. Otherwise, you just need to be improvising. So there we see queen a5 by black, but I have a couple of moves to consider, such as pawn to b4. But before that, I need to play knight ec3. But I think this is not solid enough. So just to keep it simple, I guess I should just take on c5. So, and look at that, black just blundered with knight takes c5 again, because that allows me to go pawn to b4. Moreover, my a3 pawn is defended by my dark squared bishop, so it's untouchable. And next, I'm gonna win the knight. So my opponent lacked patience, and maybe he went out of ideas, because that was a straightforward thing to do. Simply queen takes c5 and not knight takes c5. But it is what it is. This is how I win most of my games. People just blunder because I keep on doing the right thing. So black just played queen b5, and I can't take the knight because I'm gonna lose my rook. So what should I do next? I'm thinking of knight c3, but that doesn't work because black is gonna take my pawn on d3. Even if I play knight c3, for example, black can just take queen takes d3 and then attack my rook on b1, which is undefended. So that's the problem. The problem here is that my rook on b1 is not defended, it's not protected, it's on its own. So if I play knight c3, black can just take on d3 with his queen, and at worst, after queen takes d3, I mean, he's just gonna take my knight on c3. So queen takes d3 and queen takes c3, taking my knight. So this is not good. I should have developed my dark squad bishop to connect my rooks. So because of this, let me just go pawn to d4. Yeah, I guess d4 makes a lot of sense. Why? Because I'm provoking black to do something. For example, d4, yep, d4 attacks the knight and the pawn on e5. So if e takes d4, I'm gonna take back with my knight. And again, even if black retreats his knight or does something else, I still have d takes e5, and later on put my knight on d4. Oh, black doesn't even have to take my pawn on d4. And that's what they just did. So see what I was talking about, you guys, lack of patience. E takes d4 allows me to play knight takes d4, taking back with my knight, and now b takes c5 is a real threat after I rescue my rook on b1. Let me just show you what I was expecting to see. Instead of e takes d4, maybe black should have played something like knight b d7 or knight e6 or knight b7. I mean, there were so many options, but taking on d4, okay, so there we see queen d3. Taking on d4 just allows me to take the knight, but my rook is under attack, and maybe there's no taking of a free piece because my rook is under attack. So let me just exchange queens here and simplify the game. I mean, I'm up a pawn, I guess. Am I? Yeah, I'm up a pawn. I have 6 pawns against 5. So I just want to exchange queens. I played bishop b2 to protect my rook on b1. So let's see what black is going to do here. I guess there's not much to do since I'm also attacking his knight on c5. Okay, so there we see queen takes d1. So let me just take with my f rook. Yep, so rook f takes d1. And now the threat is to take the free pawn on c5. Sorry, on c6, because I'm also attacking his knight on c5. So what is he going to do? Maybe just resigning. Also, we have equal number of pieces. I'm only up a pawn with a better pawn structure. So black should rescue his knight. Yep, so knight a4. I guess I need to take the c6 pawn now. So knight c6 is the way to go. It makes me become up by 2 pawns. If knight takes b2, I'm gonna take with my rook. Yeah, so I just removed that. Rook takes b2, and there we see rook takes a3 by black. So rook c1. So the idea is to go knight e7, then win the free bishop on c8. Teamed up with my rook on c1. So knight e7 will be checked, by the way. And the other idea is just to continue matching my b pawn up to promotion. So I can safely say I'm good in this position, and the game is almost over. So in standard chess, it all comes down to a passed pawn, 1 extra pawn. You don't even have to stress, winning so fast. Just play normal chess, if need be. It's not every time you need to rely on those dubious traps and gambits. This is real chess that I'm showing you guys, and that's why I created this account, so that you guys can be challenging me for the purpose of learning. So there we see bishop e6 by black. What should I do next? Resigning? Nah. I have so many options. Pawn to b5, so I just keep on advancing that pawn up to promotion. I'm gonna promote it into another pawn if I want. No, I'm just kidding. You can't promote it to another pawn. I'm gonna promote it into a knight or a queen or a bishop. So knight e7 check is always on the plate. So let's see what my opponent is going to do. Otherwise, I have pawn to b6 next and b7. And this is the typical pawn structure that you get in the Catalan English opening and also in the Carls-Bremen system. This is the typical pawn structure that you get, typical endgame structure. So if you want to know more about this, get my English opening course at www.casperchess.com. Knight d7 by black finally after 1 year. God, pawn to b6 anyways. Let me just continue with my same idea. So typically this is where the game is, so I don't have to worry. The game is almost over. b7 is next, and knight e7 check. I always have it. So king h8 by black, because there's nothing else to do. I just need to promote and forget about it. So pawn to b7. Next, I'm gonna promote into a queen. So let's just see what my opponent is up to. Right, so rook a6 by black. What am I going to do? Knight e7 check, I think, or maybe just promoting, or knight e7. Oh, that's not even check, but let me just play knight e7. That's okay, that's fine. Ready to go rook c8 next, especially if black plays rook b8. I'm gonna play rook c8 check and promote into a queen, or just capture the rook for free, just trying to cause some chaos. Maybe that wasn't the best thing I should have done, but it's just chess at the end of the day. So there we see knight b6 by black. What should I do next? Because I'm running low on time as well. So let me just go knight c8. Oh no, I can't do that because of the light squared bishop. So I guess I'm supposed to go rook c7, but before I do that, I need to open the window for my king. So h3, if anything, I have king h2. So you see, this is when I played h3, the plan that I talked about in the opening. And there we see rook b8, so rook c7 next, simply protecting my pawn on b7. And I'm also eyeing the knight, so black's rook on a6 can't move at all. So there we see pawn to g6, but I have pawn to h4. Next, h5 to attack. King g7, knight c6 wins. Okay, so now knight e4 next, and probably I'm gonna win the light square bishop, because black's f7 pawn is pinned to the king, and maybe I'm gonna flag my opponent. Okay, so rook d8 is a blunder, so knight takes d8, and next I'm gonna win the bishop or promote. So okay, finally game over. So I just won on time, even though I was winning the game completely, because I was about to promote into an eyeball if I wanted, but the clock's elbow refused. Guys, thank you for watching this video, and remember to send your challenges at www.casperchess.com. There you can also get my courses and support this channel. Right, until next time, bye bye.